Graeme, it's always difficult when any former player from a club passes away. Although the past boy didn't cross or cross greatly, how much has the loss of Ray Wilkie's been felt at the Rangers the last few years?
It's been felt when you talk to people like Jimmy Nicholl, who obviously played with Ray. You've talked to Jimmy Bell, who's here and knew him as a man, not just as a player, because people get to see the guy on the pitch and they form opinions about that guy on the pitch. But I'm talking to people in here about the man, and as a man, he will be greatly missed by all who knew him.
In terms of the game this weekend, how's your squad looking at the moment?
Yeah, looking all right. We've had a few niggles and a few people coming back and returning to the group, but the squad look hungry. I would use that word to categorise them this week, which for me is where they need to be.
Is Josh available?
He's not, unfortunately. It's going to be a bit too soon for him. He's a bit tender at the moment, and he didn't train at all this week. Cedric's a hefty guy, and obviously Josh felt that impact. We're going to miss him this week, but as I've always said, it gives someone else an opportunity to come in and impress. What
target do you set for your players in the remaining fixtures now, so we're getting to the sort of final stage of the season?
It's exactly the same as it was. It's still in our hands, I believe. We want to be pushing on and finish as high in the league as we possibly can. We've got a massive game next weekend to look forward to, but obviously we need to take care of this game first and ensure that we get our season back on track.
Do you feel that the reaction from the players in the second half last weekend demonstrates that you can get that response out of them?
There's been a lot said about me getting a response from them. There were some harsh words spoken. There's some forthright views put forward. But the players have to walk onto the pitch. Before half-time, afterwards, I get to say my piece. As soon as they walk across the white line, it's about the players. I've always said it. It's about the players going onto the pitch, taking ownership and turning up. And I didn't think we did it enough in the first half. And in the second half, we looked more like I want us to look. And the players know that. The players know that at this football club, it's not just enough to play in the game. You have to contribute. You have to make something happen. And I thought we had players that were hungry to go and do that, kind of exemplified by Jamie Murphy, who I thought was exceptional in the second half.
Given your words there and what you said to the boys after the game last week, do you expect them to come out all guns blazing from the get-go?
We need to. We're at home. We need to go and force the tempo. We need to go and push the issue. Because we're at home, we need to take charge of the game and put our opponents, whoever they are, on the back foot. We need to do that more. We need to be more aggressive in our intent, more aggressive in our play, more aggressive in our defending, and make sure that we push the tempo rather than have an opponent's game plan imposed upon us, which I thought we did in the first half at Motherwell.
You've spoken often about the pressures of playing for Rangers and the uniqueness of it. Do you get a sense that some of the players here struggle with that and how much pressure they have to face week in, week out, and the relentless nature of that?
It's something I've been thinking about all week, and it's something I think applies to my position as well. And I am the firm believer that the pressure that you feel is an absolute privilege. It is a privilege to feel the pressure of representing this football club. In my capacity or in a playing capacity or in working in the press office, it is a privilege to have that pressure upon your shoulders to go and represent our club in the way that we should do. You need to step up and take it. I believe I can. I believe the players can. But talk's cheap. You have to go and handle that pressure on a daily basis. And we'll see tomorrow when we kick off whether we're in the right mindset to go and do that.
Is there a sense that if the guys can't show over the next few weeks that they can live with that it might limit their futures at the club?
Was it can or can't?
If they cannot live up to that pressure and cope with that pressure, then does that then have a long-term impact on them?
Well, it's a long-term impact on everyone. You have to go and, I've said before, it takes big shoulders to fill a Rangers shirt. You have to be able to cope with it. You have to be able to cope with the pressure of playing in front of 50,000 people who demand the very high standards of you. And that demand won't go away. Down when this club was down, thousands and thousands and thousands of people turned up every week, home and away, singing their hearts out, paying their money and representing themselves and backing this club to the hill. We need to go onto the football pitch and represent them in the correct manner every single time. If you can, they will love you and take you to their hearts. If you can't, then football is a ruthless business.
Graeme, you mentioned yourself in that context as well in terms of pressure. How do you feel you're dealing with the pressure?
It's new to me, if I'm perfectly honest. It's new at this level. I've played with pressure. I've handled pressure as a player, as a manager, as a coach. It's different, but as I've said, it's a privilege, and I am improving at handling it, and I will be better for it. as a person, as a coach, as a manager, for dealing with the pressure. But once again, I have to understand that people aren't having a go at me personally. People don't expect things from me personally. They expect things from this position. They expect a certain level of competence and ability that I believe I have. But you have to go and show that every single day. So we need to make sure that we do that better than we have done. But I go back to the games that we won. We won 6 games in a row, won 9 games out of 10. The players have the ability, they have the quality. It's my job to instill that belief in them to continue to get back to where we want to get to. We are still working towards getting back to where we want to be as a football club. We're on the right path. We're not there yet. I've reiterated it lots and lots. But the process will take time.
You did say last week that you understand why the question will be asked every week until there is clarity, but in terms of your own position, when's the last time you had any dialogue with the hierarchy, specifically Dave King, in terms of where you go from here?
I spoke to Mark Allen yesterday. I spoke to Stuart Robertson yesterday. I speak to them on a daily basis about plans for the summer, about plans for pre-season, about plans for recruitment. As to my own role, I'm under no doubt and there is clarity for me. I'm in charge until the end of the season. I don't expect to hear anything before that. And people who keep on asking me the same question will unfortunately get the same answer. And it's not that we don't want to move on. It's just the way it is, and you have to deal with the reality of the situation.
You mentioned Josh there. Can you tell us the nature of his injury?
16.5 sewn of Cedric Keeper fallen on his leg. He's got an impact trauma into his calf, and he's a bit tender. It's a bit sore at the moment, and he's a bit swollen. So we're just making sure we take time and we don't stress it unnecessarily, because Josh has played a lot of football. We need to make sure that we get the whole squad fit for the end of the season.
Is he a doubt for next weekend then?
I don't know as yet. It's too soon to say that, but we'll assess him over the weekend and see where he gets to. But he hasn't actually taken part in training this week, so we'll see towards next week how much part he can take.
Any issue with the challenge from Cedric Keeper?
No, not at all. It's a footballing incident. They've both gone for the ball. It's just how they landed.
Wes Foderingham, is he fit?
He felt something today, so once again, you're always going to be conservative day before a game. He missed the training session today. We'll assess him in the morning and see how he is.
What's his issue?
A lower limb issue.
Ross McCrory was saying yesterday that he is sort of raring to go to get back in the side. Is he a player that you feel in that central defensive midfield role could be a key player for you going into the end of the season?
Everyone's got an opportunity to be a key player. Ross is another excellent young player that's coming back to fitness, that is coming into our squad and can be part of it. But I like his attributes. I like his mindset. I like the fact that the last time there was a semi-final, he was in this stand, and now he's a Rangers fan getting an opportunity to represent the club, and he's showing every single day in training what that actually means to him. So as a young man, I've got no doubts as to his character. I've got no doubts as to his ability. It's about us to make sure we utilise him in the right place and at the right time.
When you look at some of his performances, the one against Aberdeen at Ibrox sticks out. Is that possibly a position that you've been lacking in, sort of having someone to sit in front of the
Potentially, but that might necessitate a change in shape, which we're not averse to doing. I like Ross in numerous positions. I like his recovery pace at centre-back. I like his ability to get up and down the pitch at right-back or right wing-back. And when he plays in the centre of the pitch, he allows other people to have more freedom, because he has that discipline there to hold and allow them to be more creative. So we're looking at different options and how to integrate him and how to use him best. But as I said, you have to look at your opponent as well and try and negate their threats before you can actually go and do what we want to do.
Dundee tomorrow, they obviously managed to get a point at Celtic Park midweek. What kind of challenge are you expecting from Neil McCann? I'm expecting a motivated, organised, dangerous team. They showed that they can cause problems. They were unlucky not to score a couple of times, but they were really well drilled, well organised, and they worked extremely hard. So I'm expecting that same kind of performance against us, and I'm expecting us to have to be patient. But once again, I expect us to try and push the tempo and push the issue towards them, because we're at home and we need to be of that mindset. Does it become almost unthinkable at this point to, go 4 games without a win?
Well, it's not unthinkable, because it can happen. You have to think about it. You have to deal with it as it happens. We have to make sure it doesn't happen. So, unthinkable is a fantastic headline for a newspaper. But for me, it's just dealing with the realities of the situation and making sure that the players understand we need to go and perform better than we did. But the second 45 at Motherwell was better. It's still some way off what I expect from them and what they expect from themselves. But we have an opportunity again to go and reach the standards that we set previously.
You spoke earlier just about how you said this week you spent quite a bit of time thinking about the pressure on you and the players and how you have dealt or not dealt with it. Can you explain how it's different for you now? Because you've had a really good career, played at a good level, been a senior player in the team, played international football. How is this different? How is this more challenging?
The level of expectation that you have at this football club is second to none. We walk down that corridor and you see pictures and shirts of great teams full of international players playing the highest level, and that expectation is still here at this football club. Our fans expect to be represented in a certain way, and when you start to do well, as we did, when you start to gain some momentum, as we did, when you dip slightly, then that expectation comes crashing in, and people, rightly, wrongly, have a response to that, which is an emotional one. So you have to deal with the emotion first, and then understand it comes from a pure desire to see this football club back on top. So the pressure comes from us wanting to be on top. The fans want us to be on top. And rightly or wrongly, everything that's spoken or written in the media is exacerbated when you do well or when you don't do so well. And I think that I, personally, have to be better at ploughing a more considered path, not get too high, not get too low, which is something I'm learning to do.
Has there been one moment or thing over the last week or so that has kind of hit that home to you, or is this just you sort of taking a step back to reflect on?
This is me reflecting back. This is me sitting here and thinking about the pressures of this job or the expectation of this job, and then reminding myself I'm an incredibly lucky individual to be sitting in this seat, to feel this pressure. I'm in a privileged position that not many people have managed to do, and I have to take it for that, and I have to count my blessings every single day that I get to do this job, not be worried about it, not be stressed about it, actually relish the challenge of representing our fans in a proper manner. And once I got that through my own head, I came into work with a smile on my face, spring in my step, and raring to go again. And that's how I have to approach it, because the players are looking at me. They're looking at me and making sure that I'm ready for it, and hopefully from this week they know that I am.
Is that easier said than done sometimes, though?
It is, because I'm a human being. You get so ups and downs, you get frustrated, you get annoyed. I think the players saw at the weekend that I was frustrated and annoyed. But once you reflect on what you've done and the journey that we've come on, there's been some very, very good moments and lots of positives to be thankful for. But we need to continue to improve. We need to continue to get better, and that won't stop until we get back on top. That will not stop. And I've got no doubt, when we do get back on top, there'll be someone wanting another improvement again. But that's just part of it, and that's nature of the beast.
When the boys disappoint you like they did in the first half, do they see a different side to you? I mean, we see you and you come across as a very nice guy and smiley, you're polite, but are you capable of sort of baring the teeth and showing the guys that you're angry with performances?
They saw it. They know it. They knew it wasn't. I'm not going to. It's almost a parent one. I'm not angry. I'm disappointed. But I was very disappointed in the manner in which we approached the first half. That wasn't us. That's not what I want the team to look like. That's not what the players want the team to look like. And I asked them to actually stand up and to be held accountable for their actions, and they did. And in the reviews afterwards, they've been really honest with one another and making sure that we understand that our standards are higher than that and have to be higher than that if we want to continue to improve.